Hello, this is Bill Merklis from Brainmaster Technologies, and we're here today to discuss one of Brainmaster's very unique features, their remote training capability within both the 2.5 SE and 3.4 software. Now today we'll be mainly focusing on 3.4 since it's the newer software, but most of these features are available back to 2.5 SE. So getting started, I want to discuss there's two different basic ways that this technique is used. One, it's used so that somebody can train from a long distance, but the clinician can actually be there session by session. So they can literally be looking at the desktop of the client. This allows a couple different things. One, you can still bill a normal clinical fee for a clinical hour versus going to more of a reduced home session fee. The other advantage is this allows your demographics and the population in which you can pull to your center unlimited. We have clinicians training people in different states, different countries, all the way across the world. So it's a very, very useful technique. This gives your clinic an advantage that other software platforms just don't have. Some of the other uses for that are if you're using one of the techniques like Z-score training, that one's a great technique that you want to be able to watch the thresholds, you want to be able to watch the changes in the brain. So by using a third-party software such as GoToMeeting, NetMeeting, LogMeIn, those softwares give you the capability of looking at your client's screen live while they're training. So think of the advantages. You can make threshold changes on the fly. You can make display changes. You can follow their progress session by session. Now this could be done by a technician, by another associate, or by yourself. So it really allows you to fill your schedule up. Now you're not up against who is coming into the clinic today. Will they show up? Is it raining? Is it snowing? Can they not get here? You're literally able to log into their computer at their facility, so it saves the additional expense for them to travel. Think of the clients that you might have coming even from 2 hours away, 3 hours away, and maybe they usually come for a week, then you don't see them for a month, and they come for a week again. This will allow the clients to get better results, quicker results, and more long-lasting results due to the consistency of training. So think of the advantages of that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually take a look at the 3.4 software and find out step by step how do we do remote training. What I happen to be in is 3.4. I'm currently logged in with my serial number that happens to be the Atlantis that we're using. We notice that we have an unlimited license and it's clinical. It's a clinical license. So this would be an example of what the software will look on the clinician computer, not the clients, but the clinicians. So first off, what we can do is we can take a look at folder selections, which is our second button down under login. And as we click on this, we see that we happen to go to a screen that's titled Select Trainee and Study Folder. You're used to seeing this screen when you're doing your regular clinical training. But the only difference is now, instead of picking a folder in which we're going to train at this moment, we're going to pick a folder. We're going to then take a look at the settings, make any adjustments, and prepare to send this folder to our client remotely. So first off, as I scroll down, I'm going to go ahead and pick a particular protocol. For this exercise, I'm going to scroll about halfway down here, and we see a protocol that says Bill Z-score test. Okay, this could be any folder, any client, whichever particular folder you're going to use in a remote scenario. You, of course, can also make specific folders for a remote scenario. But let's start here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this particular file. I'm then going to go over kind of straight across, and we see a button, third button down, that actually says Session Librarian. Now what's going to happen, and we're going to watch closely, is I'm going to push this button and we're going to see some automated function on the screen that the software is going to do on its own. So as I click Session Librarian, we see a window that actually says Write Files to Disk. It says this procedure will write an archive file for study, Bill Z-score test. That's the actual client folder that we picked from the list. It says you may then copy the archive to the floppy disk or email it to a recipient. Now, we're going to, of course, change that floppy disk option. That's a little outdated. But for the most part, with remote training or / home training, whatever you want to call it, email is usually the technique that you're going to use to transfer these files. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the OK button. I take my cursor there and I go ahead and give that a push. We notice that there's some activity on the screen. The software's kind of doing its thing. Takes a moment. And then it gives us a new window. At the top it says copy to floppy disk with a question mark. So it says archive c:/brainem.20/archive/bill z-score test.bmz was created. Now what it's done is it took that particular client folder and it bundled it in a zip type format that is proprietary to Brainmaster, and we do that for a specific reason, because when this then gets sent to a client that has Brainmaster software, when they double click this file, as long as they have Brainmaster software on that computer, it's going to go ahead and recognize that the file belongs to Brainmaster. It's going to open, extract, and put it in their client or their select folder window. So it's very easy for the client on their end. So then what it's asking us is, do you want to copy to floppy disk or send by email? Well, again, the majority of the time you're going to use an email option. So as I go down to the middle option here that says email, again I give it a simple click. In a few seconds we see all of a sudden I have my email browser that popped up. I happen to be using Outlook Express on this particular computer. We're going to also outline that there are some different alternatives you may run into or you may have to use depending on the email server or whether you're using a web-based email or not. But let's talk about just a PC-based email such as like Outlook or Outlook Express. The actual email window pulled up. We see Brainmaster file, again, colon, bill z-score test.bmz. So that's what we want to do. We notice it's from our email address, billm@brainem. Now it happened to put it to BMR support because I've done this several times on this computer. But this is where you could literally swipe over and type in whatever client name that you needed it to be. Okay, for this exercise I'm simply going to leave it to BMR support, but this could be client@hotmail.com. Okay, so keep that in mind. You could then also send another copy to yourself, another copy to an email server that you may have for documentation and recording purposes, or to a different colleague. We notice in the subject that it does outline that it's a Brainmaster file. It's bill z-score test.bmz. We could then add any type of note or anything for the client that says here's your next 6 sessions or your next 10 sessions, or please after completing these sessions email back to us. You can put any kind of note there you would like, along with in the body we could do the same thing and say, you know, dear client, please complete attached sessions, then email back results. Now of course this note could be anything that you want. This is just giving you a simple example. And then thank you, and we'll just say Bill M. And this could be your name, the name of your clinic, the name of an associate, you know, whoever's actually sending the file to the client.